What's going on, guys? It's the Saints Hub back with another video, and today we're going to be doing my mock drafts 2.0. But today, to make it more realistic, I used 3 mock draft simulators: Pro Football Network's Pro Football Focus and The Draft Network's mock draft simulators. So if there's a player available that you don't see falling, and I'm telling you that it'll be like that in this first mock draft, I didn't have him falling that far. It's the simulator, and I just clearly picked who the best player was, or who I think fit our team best. I'll tell you guys the available players and basically my thought process and why I picked them. So, to start it off, we have Pro Football Network's mock draft, and in round 1, the players available were Jordan Love, Denzel Mims, Patrick Queen, Kenneth Murray, Trayvon Diggs, and K'Lavon Chaisson. Of course, you're wondering, how the hell did K'Lavon Chaisson fall? I have no idea why he fell. K'Lavon is easily a top 20 pick. I don't see him falling to us, and top 20 is pretty. I'd say top 17 to be honest with you. But once I saw he was available, K'Lavon, the linebacker, is more of an edge rusher, but still has great coverage skills, and I think K'Lavon is an absolute steal at pick 24. Immediate impact on this team. Although, yes, more of an edge rusher, he still is a linebacker, and our linebacking core is so paper thin. K'Lavon is 6'3" with a 6.5 grade. In 13 games, he had 60 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 13.5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumbled, and 2 pass deflections. Once again, I don't see him falling, but when I saw he was on the board, y'all know I had to pick the LSU boy, K'Lavon Chaisson. He's a dog. We'd be very lucky if he fell to us, but it's not happening. Round 3, the players available were Devin Duvernay, Gabriel Davis, Jake Fromm, Troy Pride Jr., and Donovan Peoples-Jones. For me, it really came down to Devin Duvernay and Gabriel Davis. Both of them had 1,000-yard receiving seasons and great seasons at their respective colleges. You know what I'm trying to say. But my pick came down to Gabriel Davis because he had a 6.20 grade compared to Devin's 6.0 grade. Gabriel Davis had a great, solid season at UCF. 72 receptions, 1,241 yards, and 12 TDs. And fun fact, he is friends already with wide receiver Traquan Smith. So I have no problem bringing in another UCF player. So maybe they bond, and that's already great team chemistry coming in. The reason I know that is because Traquan, I think, wished him a happy birthday recently. I wouldn't know that. I follow on Instagram, but nonetheless, Gabriel Davis is an absolute just dog. I mean, 1,000 yards received, 1,241 yards receiving, 12 TDs. Honestly, those stats show me there's nothing he didn't do. He was a red zone target. He was able to get open and get yards. Gabriel is easily could develop into that wide receiver 2 once Emmanuel retires, but put him at wide receiver 3 right now, he's really going to flourish, and he's going to be a great, solid player. Round 4, there wasn't a lot of players that I liked available, so I went with a little bit of a more interesting take. Alex Highsmith, Leki Fotu, Anthony Gordon, and Troy Dye Jr. were available. So I went with Troy Dye Jr. because with the 6.14 combine grade, although we already drafted a linebacker, Troy is an absolute steal for the 4th round, and our linebacking depth is still terrible. If one of them gets injured, like Anzalone, we're screwed. I mean, Craig Robertson, I think, comes in. Goddamn, Kiko Alonso's a starter. Kiko's not bad, actually. I don't know why I said that. Stephon Anthony. I don't want to see any of those guys start a game. I want to see them maybe play like once or twice. They're terrible. Troy Dye Jr. had 82 solo tackles, which he did fall off from his 109 in 2018, but he improved in every other facet of the game with 2.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, 4 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles. He has great 3-down linebacking skills, and he's good in the cover and blitz. Troy is an absolute steal for the 4th round. I see him going in the 3rd, but when I saw he was available, I saw our linebacking core is paper thin besides DeMario. I knew I had to jump the gun, and I drafted Oregon linebacker Troy Dye Jr. I really think he could develop into something special, and I really see him actually being very effective on this team right away. Why is this? Okay, sorry. Round 5, I did not see a lot of players I liked, but the players available were L'Jarius Sneed, Thaddeus Moss, Jonah Jackson, and Brian Cole. I picked Thaddeus Moss, and I know I've been saying a lot that I'm not drafting a linebacker. I have tight end because we still have Jared Cook, but, I thought about it. Jared's getting up there in age. Josh Hill is not going to be our starter. Let's bring in the LSU boy, Thaddeus Moss, who, in my opinion, probably should have stayed another year to boost his draft stock. I think he probably could have gone up to the third or fourth round if he stayed another year. But Thad with a 5.8 grade, 57 catches, 580 yards, and 4 TDs. The problem with Thaddeus is he's really, the only positives I could really read from him is that his run blocking ability is godly. And when Jared does eventually retire, we're going to need a receiving tight end. So hopefully he can develop into that. But I do think Thaddeus Moss is pretty solid, and I think he could develop into something special, especially since he's already worked in that New Orleans type system with Joe Brady at LSU. I think he can really develop into something good. But it is a 5th-round pick, and I don't think he'll be Jared Cook. I just think he could develop into an average tight end. For the last pick, players available were Ben DiNucci, Harrison Hand, Steven Montez, and Lamar Jackson. To be honest, I know Sean Payton already said we're drafting a linebacker, but I'm sorry, not linebacker, quarterback, but Ben DiNucci and Steven Montez were just trash, and I didn't feel comfortable doing it. So I know this is very unrealistic, but I drafted corner Harrison Hand, who had a 5.82 grade, 59 tackles, 3 picks, 1 forced fumble, and 5 pass deflections. Once again, Harrison will not fall this far. I see him more in the 5th round, but we were able to snag him in the late 6th round. He's a corner out of Temple. It's a great steal. He's good. He has great size for being a corner, but a lot of people just worry about his transition to the NFL. But I think New Orleans can help him out, and for the 6th rounder, I'm perfectly capable of just working with him because, what else are we going to draft in the 6th round? All right. That is Pro Football Network's, I believe, mock draft. Don't remember it off the top of my head. K'Lavon Davis. Oh, my God. I already forgot my mock draft. Hold on. K'Lavon Davis, Dye Jr., Thad Moss, and Harrison Hand. Sorry for me being retarded. And the next up is the Draft Network. Round 1, we had Justin Jefferson, Kenneth Murray, Trayvon Diggs, and Patrick Queen available. My pick, because it's me, Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma with a 6.44 grade, 102 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 4 pass deflections. Kenneth Murray is a well-rounded linebacker, may not be the best at playmaking, but could easily, you plug him in, and he's easily an instant impact player. I think Kenneth Murray is better than Patrick Queen in my opinion, but Queen is better at coverage, so I understand why people want us to draft Queen. I don't think we can go wrong with either one, but I chose Murray because I'd rather have a well-rounded linebacker. Round 3, there were Cole Kmet, Chase Claypool, and Jacob Eason available. I chose Jacob Eason because we do need that quarterback. He has 6.25 grade, 3,132 yards on the season, 23 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. The stats were not there, but the potential is there. He has all the intangibles, standing at 6'6", an absolute cannon of an arm. He did lose his spot to Jake Fromm at Georgia, why he transferred to Washington. But Jacob Eason has all the intangibles, like I said, and in Sean Payton's system can really flourish. And honestly, you could put a lot of quarterbacks in that situation now with goddamn Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook, and I think they would do good. None like Brees, though. Let's get that straight. Round 4, there were players available. Gabriel Davis, Tyler Johnson, Devin Duvernay, and Reggie Robinson II. To mix it up, I went with wide receiver Tyler Johnson out of Minnesota. He has a 5.99 grade, which isn't the best, but he had a monster season with 83 receptions and 1,318 yards. Tyler is a speedy wide receiver who, once again, like Davis, I could easily see developing into that wide receiver 2 role in the future, but as of now, I see him more as a wide receiver 3, which is good because I don't think Traquan Smith has much of a future here in New Orleans because I am not a fan of him, and I don't think he's done anything to prove himself. In the 5th round, I also have us taking, I think I had it. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Josiah Scott, the playmaking corner out of MSU. I've talked about him a lot. I'm really a big fan of his value, where he's falling. He had 1 forced fumble, 3 picks, and 7 pass deflections. Josiah is a playmaker that is a great depth piece in the 5th round, and I don't see falling to us at the 5th round or late 5th round, because he's either early 5th round or 4th round, because he's really good and he has a lot of good skills that could make him a really solid corner in the NFL. And because I'm tired of not having draft picks, this year I traded our 6th for a future 5th, because I'm so goddamn tired of not having draft picks. We literally have the least amount of picks this year, and it pisses me off. We're down to our last mock draft, NFL mock draft database, and yeah, let's just get right into it. Last time we took Murray number 1, but this time the players available were Murray, Espinosa, I think I'm saying that right, Queen, and Denzel Mims. But to mix it up, I went with Patrick Queen, the hyper-athletic linebacker with a crazy 6.71 grade, an insanely fast 4.51 40, 85 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 interception, 2 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery. Queen is a lot better at coverage than Kenneth Murray, but I feel like Murray's more well-rounded. But to be honest, I'm fine with either of the linebackers. I think they're both instant day one impact players, and I think Patrick Queen is crazy value for where he's going in the mock drafts. I like him a lot. There's not much to say. Very athletic linebacker, and he will prove it right away if we draft him. Round 3, the players available were Eason, Claypool, and KJ Hamler. Honestly, I'd probably take Eason again, but I wanted to mix it up once again, so I took Chase Claypool out of Pittsburgh, who a lot of people know for having that insane combine that was compared to Megatron, because I'm pretty sure they had they're the 2 players in NFL history to do the same exact things, which, hey, if he's like half the player Megatron was, he'll be a dog, because Megatron was that fucking good. Chase Claypool had a 6.3 grade, 66 receptions, 1,037 yards, 13 touchdowns, and averaged 15.7 yards per reception. I would be all into drafting Chase Claypool. I think he's an absolute dog. I think he really could develop into a strong receiver on this team. You imagine Sean Payton working with a Megatron-type receiver? That's a recipe for success for New Orleans and disaster for other teams. Round 4, there was no one I liked, I'll be 100% honest. Some guy named Johnson, I didn't write down the last name, our first name. Jake Fromm and Albert O. I picked Fromm just because we said we were taking quarterback. I'm not a big fan of Jake Fromm. I think he's more of just a game manager. But to be honest, like I said earlier, I feel like if he was drafted by New Orleans, he wouldn't be as bad as people thought, because our offense is so good that it could carry him around. It's kind of like Jimmy G in the 49ers. Jimmy G's just average and a game manager, but since he has such a good offense, he flourishes really well. But that's who I picked. He had 2,860 yards, 6.16 grade, 24 TDs, and 5 picks. I do like how he doesn't throw a lot of picks. That made me happy. But once again, there's just nothing special about Jake Fromm. He's just average, if that makes sense. Round 5, I had us taking corner Stanford Samuels with a 5.97 grade, 60 total tackles, 7 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. I like this pick a lot because I think Stanford Samuels is a great depth piece for the New Orleans Saints. And I think he's a good, with that 5.97 grade, I think that's pretty good for the 5th round. I would love to have Stanford on the team. A great depth piece. Round 6, I have us taking offensive tackle Terrence Steele, 5.80 grade. But when I look at this guy, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a 6'6" frame, 318 pounds. If we teach him how to block properly, he's got all the intangibles to be an insane tackle or guard or wherever we put him. I know he plays tackle right now, but I think Terrence Steele could develop into something special in the 6th round. That's it for my mock drafts. Those are 3. I know I talk kind of fast. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. Which mock draft did you like the most? The Murray, the Queen, or the Chasen one? What do you guys want for the next video? Until next time, peace.